Yo, what's up, folks, and welcome back to another episode of the Bate podcast, Shits and Giggles edition. In today's episode, I'm joined by your girlfriend. She is a baiter, gooner clown in the baiter community, and she makes music for people to make come to. In this episode, we play a really fun game of Gooner Go, talk about a really important subject in making make sense, and share some insight into our personal dating lives on bait, date, or mate. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the episode. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Bate Escape. I am joined in person by your girlfriend.
Hey, everybody, glad to be here.
I'm so excited to do these because I never get the opportunity to do interviews in person. Because typically the people that I talk to, or people in the Bater community, we live everywhere else.
Yeah.
So it's always so nice. I feel like the energy is different when we're sitting side by side.
Yeah, totally. And I feel like there's way more nonverbals to feed off of. It kind of keeps the conversation a little more organic, more flowing.
Nonverbals. I like a good nonverbal.
Yeah.
It's like you take social cues, what's your body doing? Look at the person that you're dealing with, and how are they feeling about whatever.
Exactly. The conversation should be a full meal.
Speaking of meals, we just had a really great Thai meal. If you're in LA, you have to go check out Hoi Ka. Angelinos or people that have been here in LA know exactly what I'm talking about, and it's some fucking good ass food. It's probably one of the best coconut curries I've had in the city.
Yeah, certified good by your girlfriend for sure.
Co-signed. I like that.
Stamped.
So you're in LA because you're doing an event. I believe you're hosting a Goon class or Gooning class for Claw.
Yeah. So this year at the Claw LA Leather Retreat, which is an annual event for leather folk in LA, about this time of year. We're recording now about the day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a time for workshops, it's a time for partying, it's time for leather folk to do the kinky things that they do together. So really excited to be able to teach a gooning class with my very talented gooner friend Oscar Buzz, and really just take a deep dive into what we feel like gooning is, and especially my specific style of gooning, which I feel has its own value system attached to it.
Mm-hmm. I like your Goon because I feel like I'm at a point in my life, and we're talking about this over lunch, where I have a problem where I don't feel my feelings, or I have a tendency to bypass them until oftentimes what I'll do is I'll come into any situation, whether it's happy or sad or stressful, and I won't pay attention to what's really happening within my body. I won't really fully take in the moment, especially the ones I miss more on are the ones where I'm really happy about something. And I read a post on Instagram once where it's people with anxiety, when they finish something, they don't have a sense of accomplishment. They just have a sense of relief that it's done. And I want to make that shift.
Yeah.
I want to be able to celebrate these small wins and really take the moment to say, how am I feeling about this? Where in my body am I feeling joy? And I haven't really been doing that. I feel like I've disassociated most of my entire life, which is not fun for anybody. And I don't encourage you to do that. I want you to, feel the feelings and be vulnerable. And I think things, events and classes that you're doing are so needed, because I get those questions all the time. It's how do you goon? How do you become a better gooner? And I feel like it really starts with the bod.
Yeah.
What are you feeling? What's your dick telling you?
Yeah. It all starts in the bod for sure. And I think so often we stifle our feelings that come from our bodies and come from that somatic place, because we want to look sexy, or we want to look cool, or we want to serve something that we think our partners will be into. And it's just you're saying, that only stops us from feeling the heights of how good that pleasure can get.
Yeah. And I feel that's so true. And I feel like I've been guilty of that. I'll be in an intimate setting, and I'll act the way I think they want me to act, versus just being authentically sexy, my sexy. Listen, I get it. I'm an acquired taste. I know that about myself. And I think I've committed to the fact where I'm just I'm never gonna be that cool, sexy, suave, dude that can come up to anyone and spit game. I'm not that. I'm awkward, I'm clumsy, I'm cute. I'm the Drew Barrymore of baiters.
Agreed.
That's what I got
Yes.
called the other day, and I was just like, what the fuck does that mean? And I was just like, oh, it actually makes sense to me. Actually,
I know some Twitter guy has that handle out there, but I don't know what it is. Like Drew Bates Seymour.
that's
Like we need
cool.
to
What?
figure it out.
They need
No,
to
I
be
don't
on the
know of this.
platform.
I just it has to be a thing. It must exist out there.
It's gotta be.
Yeah.
It's just too good of a name.
Yeah.
But I'm proud of it. Like we were talking, I was like, I own that because I feel like I'm in a space in my life where I just want to do good.
Yeah.
I want to feel good about myself. I want others to feel good. And I think Drew Barrymore is doing. I mean, she's obviously very successful at it, and I feel like okay, if I'm gonna be likened to someone, make it be someone that's really successful.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
could be worse. You could be in a more problematic bait celeb.
Fuck. Yeah, that's what I don't want. I want the
Yeah.
exact opposite.
But yeah, I mean, to circle back, like I do think the vulnerability is like the secret spice. Like I don't know, when I'm like thinking about like content I want to record or things I want to do, like I feel like the urge to just like take the easy route or record something like what I think is sexy and like simple
Hmm.
is like very strong, but I do find that like people respond most to the things that when I put them out there feel like a risk because I'm being vulnerable and like
Ooh.
showing a part of myself
Uh huh.
that like I might not rather show.
Yeah. It's just I think people hesitate because it's a scary place.
Yeah.
Like, because I think when I'm in that vulnerable space, I want that to be reciprocated, and you
Yeah.
never really understand what the other person's motives
Hmm.
are, or intentions, or what they're feeling. Again, because I feel like oftentimes I'm not communicating, so that it doesn't open a space for others to communicate,
Yeah.
which is problematic. Because then you're just like two people, and you're just like, okay, well, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, someone in the scene has to have that. I don't know what the word is. I guess I want to say like strength, or maybe it's just like fearlessness, right? To like
Mm-hmm.
be the one to lead and just like model that sort of
Ooh.
like vulnerability and exchange like you want to take place.
Yeah, I like that. Modeled. I think that's great. I think that's what you're doing.
Hope so.
Yeah, I think that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna teach this class, and I
Yeah.
feel like you're gonna. I think you were talking about you're gonna start with like a somatic experience, like kind of get into it with your body, and then move through that.
Yeah, I think it's really important. Just like I'm hoping like we can just all kind of before we dive into the discussion or the practice or any sort of like goon theory building.
Hmm.
Yeah, like people learn best when they're calmed out. Their anxieties are kind of left at the door, and they can just be in the room together and present to each other.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And I feel like in my life, I feel like that's where I'm at. Like I feel I need to be more present,
Mhm.
and I think as a result of being more present, I'll be able to feel more things. And I
Yeah.
really want to feel like I sometimes I like struggle or I like have difficulty expressing that because I don't, there's a lot of history behind why I want to be in that space. And so it's like people think it's so easy. It's like, let's just feel it. Like, what do you feel? And it's like, it's
Yeah.
not that, especially too in like a sexual setting, it can be really difficult for people to really feel their bodies.
Yeah.
Oftentimes people can disassociate. I know I have. Like,
Yeah.
even when I'm masturbating, I'll disassociate and have to remind myself to kind of come back to the present space.
Yeah. It's always happening, right? Like even when you're in a good flow with it, or even when you feel like you're feeling more confident in a time in your life, like it is
Hmm.
like I don't know. It's something to return to. Like I feel like that's how you stay authentic, right? Like it's an ever evolving practice.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like it's a really good place to be. Like I feel like um, I really learned a lot of like somatic things, and a couple of years ago I took a workshop, and it was to become like a sex coach, like love
Mm,
intimacy coach, and it had a
yeah.
lot of different practices that I like just wasn't familiar with, like
Mm,
things like boundaries. I had no idea what those were.
mm.
But also too, just somatic. It's just like it really just starts with your body. Like I never really understood that. Like I've always just lived in my head for so long.
Yeah.
To make that transition can be a little alarming, a little jarring.
Yeah.
It can
I
be
know,
hard.
especially when you're like taking that first step and you're just like you're so used to acting from the head and now you're like, "Oh, like let's try something different."
Acting from the head. No, I think that's so true. I think that's true. I think that the work that you're doing is really needed. It's good. I'm happy that we're able to showcase and talk about that because I think it's really important. I mean, people. people want to feel themselves, you know, and I feel like I'm the person to advocate for everybody feeling for themselves. I always
Yeah.
say if you have a body, you have a sexual body.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I think like personally, I think to the times of my life that were like most valuable in feeling like liberated or feeling confident, I was just like receiving just like very simple permission from like the
Mm.
people I'm playing with or the people I'm interacting with to just like be myself. And sometimes I
Mm.
feel like that's all people need.
Do you feel like you are asking for that permission, or do you feel like it's given to you?
Um, I feel like it's not something people always know they need to ask for,
Ooh.
but it's more just like
I like
yeah,
that.
I think like the more people that are able to like kind of create these like safe spaces to like play and explore and like
Yeah.
feel vulnerable in, like
Yeah.
it gets easier because then we're building a culture of that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Like it has to start somewhere, right? Again, like you said, like modeling the behavior and also giving permission to say this is okay. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we don't have to go full force. We can
Mm-hmm.
take our time and like, you know, really slow things down. I think you're really good at that.
Mm-hmm. Glad to hear it.
So this is taking place in like downtown area location, and it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be like a group of people, and you're gonna just kind of instruct them on how to do it.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be clown face?
TBD. I mean, I would love to do it in clown face, but sometimes I feel like clown is such a powerful thing that bringing it in with a group of strangers who aren't might not be expecting that can go one or the other way.
That's a good call because I feel like a lot of people can have strong phobias about clowns.
Yeah, I
Have you
feel,
ever encountered that?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I go out and clown in like nightlife or like in places where that's not necessarily being asked for. And you know, people, I feel like clown is a powerful symbol. So like people can either feel very attracted to it and like love it, like I've never seen someone just have the purest expression of joy just from seeing my face as like when I walk around a clown.
Yeah.
Other times people are like freaked out because
Yeah.
they're like, "What is going on? Where am I? Who is this person? Why are they here?"
Yeah. Hmm. I like clowns. I mean, I really have a big problem with it. Do you goon and clown? Like, do you?
Yeah, love to Goon and Clown, and
Yeah.
like I don't know, I feel like I like they're very overlapping circles for me,
Yeah.
just because I feel like Gooning is about like feeling pleasure and feeling emotion so strongly that you can't hide it, and like
Mm-hmm,
Clown is about connecting emotionally with people as a performer with your emotions by
mm-hmm.
not hiding them.
Mm.
So I think like the juice of both of those things is like very similar.
Yeah, because I feel like as a clown, you need to be expressive.
Right.
Like, you need to be animated. You need to be like,
Mhm.
unless you're like a sad clown.
Yeah,
Is
but
sad
like
clown a thing?
sad clown's totally a thing, and sad clowns are feeling like authentic emotions. Like they might seem exaggerated or like
Mm,
childlike, but often that's like how I think our emotional selves process things.
that's true. Maybe I should be more of a clown.
I think everyone should be more of a clown.
Spoken like a true clown. What are you doing for the holidays? So I got this tree put up, and I got this like on Amazon something or whatever. But it's like healing myself because growing up we didn't have like a tree
Mm,
at home. The
yeah.
only tree that we had was at my grandmother's house. So we'd
Mm,
always go visit, and it was really fun. But I hope everyone is out there enjoying the holidays and like doing it in your style. Like it doesn't have to be some like big thing. It'd be like a nice little tree like this. I'm missing a star though. Although
mm.
I think the Santa hat works, right?
I think the Santa hat is a good topper.
Yeah, I love a good top.
I love a good topper. Santa does make a good top. What can I say?
Ah. Okay, cool. So this is another Shits and Giggles edition, and we're gonna go for Goon or Go. So we were having a conversation, and this part again, Goon or Go. If we're gonna talk about different things, we're gonna throw out words, and then we're gonna decide whether we goon for it, which is good, or it's gotta go
Mhm.
because we're over it. And I feel like we came up with some good ones. Um, okay, cool. Goon or Go. Tiffany Pollard. If you don't know
Goon.
Tiffany Pollard, it's I Love New York. And if you don't know who this person is, stop this video and go research it right now.
Yeah, Goon to Tiffany Pollard 100%.
Yes.
If you haven't heard, you need to go right into it.
Yeah.
You need to understand the references.
Yes.
Hmm.
And you need to start with the first season of Flavor of Love.
Yes.
That's where she debuted,
I
right?
believe that's where she debuted.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
if you go and you can find it on YouTube, and that's where kind of she came to be a star, and I think it was like the second season because he brought her back.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler. And that's where she really shined. And she's had like a huge career based off this like character that she created.
This woman is a genius. She is quite potentially one of the greatest performers of our time, maybe all times.
Yeah,
And like this woman is poetry. Like you listen to her like read these people on reality television, and it's Shakespeare.
she's so good. Like that's all she does. She's just a bitch, and she's
Mm-hmm.
so good at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
And then
think she's
obviously the gays love her.
we love Tiffany
We
Pollard.
love
I
Tiffany
think she
Pollard.
really channels something like about us as a society that I just can't put my finger on.
I think so. I think you're right. I think she's like one of the greatest commentaries on like of our generation.
Mm-hmm.
So we goon.
We goon.
We goon
I
for.
would love to know what Tiffany Pollard thinks of gooning. I would love to hear
I
that.
feel like I want to believe that she would love it.
Yeah, I think she'd love
I
it.
bet you she's fucking a gooner, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
I
get
could
gooner
see it.
vibes. I can see that
I
from
could see
her.
it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good Regiment Pollard. Okay, next. Group sex.
Goon easily. Simple. Simple goon.
What is a group to you? Like how much is too much and how much is like good?
I think a group has to be like if it's all strangers, three people is a group. If they know each other, I think it's five or more.
That's an interesting perspective. Like
Mm-hmm.
three strangers is
I think three strangers is a group. Yeah.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's three totally new dynamics happening.
That's true. And if
Whereas,
you've never met,
mm-hmm,
it's a
exactly.
lot of like new energies coming into one space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whereas I feel like if everyone knows each other, like those same feelings don't happen or like come out until you get a larger group.
That's true. What's the biggest group you've been in?
Mm.
you
Tough,
know,
tough to say.
you don't have to answer. I do like group sex, but I do like it to be like a little bit more on the intimate side.
Mm-hmm.
However, like when I'm watching group sex like online, if I'm looking at for porn,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm fully aroused by like 30 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that I could never join that. That's too much.
So would you count a voyeur in a scene as joining the scene, or are they not in the scene because they're not? They're just watching.
I think they're just watching. I think they're just like
Okay, so we're saying 30 people actively
actively like
actively in
going at
there.
it.
I
Yeah, yeah.
see.
Because then I also too feel like I'm the kind of person who kind of walk around and be like, where can I kind of jump in?
Yeah.
And then at group sex, it's like you really, you kind of have to help yourself. You kind of just kind of jump in. But
Yeah.
I'm always,
Surprisingly, group sex not a team sport.
it's not.
Mm-mm.
No, it's everyone's kind of going in there for themselves.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I know who will win.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you get your jollies or you don't get your
Yeah.
jollies. So we goon. We goon for group sex.
So we going, yes.
All right, the next one. Public group sex.
Oh. If the last one was a goon, this is a goon.
When I edit this, I'm gonna type it out.
Yeah.
So I was like, I do love public group sex. I think it's
Mhm.
fun. I love watching it. I don't think I could ever. Well, that's not true. If it's in a private space, I could. Like someone's backyard, like in a pool.
Mhm.
That's fun for me. Like
Mm.
I love a good pool like situation.
Mhm.
But I was telling your girlfriend I was watching this porno, and there was like a group of men literally in the snow.
Mhm. Yes.
Like getting it on, like just hitting cam and people's faces were blurred out. But I was like, whoa, this person's like butt ass naked, like in -degree weather, getting his jollies off. That was
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah. That something about that just is the right kind of edge play for me.
Yeah.
Like knowing that like they were cold.
Yeah, and I love the thing that turned me on the most was like you could the blurred faces, but you could see the steam from their hot breath, and you're just like, that's legit. Like that's really cold.
Yeah.
I'm
Wait, so
surprised he had like a boner.
have you done temperature play?
No, what's temperature play?
Uh, well, it could just be playing with heat, or it could be playing with cold.
Okay,
You
okay,
know.
okay.
But like, I definitely think that like if you're butt ass naked in the snow, like I think that temperature play is at play.
I think so. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
you would have to like
Yeah.
if you're like stripped down
Mhm.
and you're like mounting some person,
Mhm.
like I would assume that you really enjoy cold.
Yeah.
Cold's your thing.
Mhm.
Ice cubes, ice cream.
Ice
Well,
cream.
now we're getting to like foodie sex.
Yeah. Mhm.
Although I don't think I've ever really played around with like foodie sex.
No.
Like hardcore. Like I'm gonna eat like a full breakfast off your ass.
A full breakfast. Now, there's a difference between like sweet breakfast and savory breakfast. There.
Okay, are you a waffle or pancakes person?
If I'm waffle normally, unless I'm eating it off an ass, then it's pancakes.
Nice.
Yeah, I think this is smoother. It's more friendly to my bottom there.
Also, too, I feel like with the pancake, you're gonna get that sound like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I feel like with the waffle, you have all those nooks and crannies. It's gonna drown out.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be more crumbly, and that's not what you want.
No, that's not what you want. You want smooth,
Mm-hmm.
syrupy pancake
Yeah.
sex.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we goon for public.
Yeah.
We're 3 for 3. That's good.
Pretty good. Yeah.
All right. Next, feet.
Mm-hmm. Goon. Yeah.
I
I
I
a recent for me a recent convert to feet goon. But you know what did it for me
What?
is personally huge fist top. I love to fist. I love just that sort of immediate feedback you get, or like, ooh, I'm like in you. I can feel everything you're
Oh
feeling.
my god.
But yeah, recently I learned I had the first experience footing someone, not fisting, but footing.
So you had your foot up
Yeah,
in them.
fully up in them, and I'm like, let me tell you,
What was that
like
like?
life changing. Like, and the warmth. I never thought I could experience such warmth.
So how much of your foot was actually in this person?
We were about up to ankle, like full slipper, full Cinderella slipper on there.
That's impressive.
It was. It
Okay,
was.
not gonna lie, I've had foot like experiences,
hmm
and I can only get like half of it. I mean,
hmm
granted, I do have like a meaty foot. I
hmm
have like a very wide foot, so
hmm
I feel like yours is a little narrow. I see it now, so I feel like
hmm
it could easily go in there.
Yeah, I am blessed to have the dainty girlfriend feet because I can have those experiences with
They're
people.
they're pretty feet, y'all.
Yeah, it. My dream scene is to sort of like be wearing two like Fister foot slippers and have them crawl on all fours into the party. I
That's
I
amazing.
would I think I'd feel like a real princess then if I could just like that could be my transportation for
I
the night.
I think that'd be really amazing.
Yeah.
I think the person that I was fishing with my foot, like it got too hard on my foot, and it actually hurt my foot. I had no
Oh,
idea how strong the anus can be, because I was like, my
power.
my foot was hurting, and
Yeah.
it's funny. He looked back and he was like, "Is your foot hurting?" Like he already knew. I was like, "Yes, it is. How did you know? Wait, you've done this before."
Yeah, she knows her own strength.
She knows
Yeah.
that power anus.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. So I do love feet. Like I
Mhm.
think like a nice, clean, like pedicured, beautiful foot on a man or
Sexy.
a person is
Mhm.
like really sexy. Well, but I mean, for me, a male foot is just more like dynamic. It's like
Mm.
I don't know, not as dainty. I feel like you can do more with like a male foot.
Mhm.
You can like really.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we goon for feet.
So we going for feet. Yeah.
Yeah, lick the feet.
Lick the feet. Do whatever with the feet.
Do whatever with the feet. There's no harm, no foul. Here we go. Next is sex dating apps.
Mm. Yeah. I think unless there's some big changes in dating app culture, I think they can go.
Yep, I think they could definitely go.
Yeah.
We were just talking about this article that came out on I think the publication them or the Instagram page
Mhm.
them,
Mhm.
and they were talking about all these content moderators for Grinder having like PTSD and like mental health issues because they're having to deal with like these crazy things like
Mhm.
child pornography and like rape, and like they wouldn't give them the resources to like have better mental health, and so people were like quitting left and right, and I'm like, y'all trash.
Mhm.
Like you're not even taking care of the people that it affects us the most.
Yeah, and I
And to
mean,
think that people are like sending that shit on Grinder is really disturbing.
yeah, disturbing but expected for me. I feel like it's just like yeah, like we don't have a healthy sexual culture,
We don't.
So
Right.
like of course like all the bad things are going to come to the surface and then
Nope.
yeah, it sucks that like these like laborers have to, like offer their mental health and offer their emotional selves to this like thankless work, right?
Yeah. And also too, I feel like they're outsourcing these in like
hmm
underdeveloped countries,
Yeah.
which affects their communities. And it's like, okay, like you're profiting off people's mental health. What the
hmm
fuck? Ew.
Ew.
Do you like what? Is there any kind of dating app that you like?
Um,
Do you use dating apps?
I do use dating apps very rarely. I tend to prefer the cruisier dating apps now, where it's very much just like I'm right here, right now, and it's very few words.
Hmm.
It's very much just like here's a need and here's a transaction.
Gotcha.
Um,
Yeah. That's really cool.
Especially just because I think, personally, my favorite part about anonymous sex is that like sort of like newness and that like spontaneity around it.
Hmm.
And I feel like the whole dating app thing where it just goes on and on and on just like isn't as much appealing to me.
Yeah.
And I think like the culture around dating apps now is just that like people treat each other as so disposable.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, like I also like I'm not gonna go on these dating apps where it's chatting because people aren't gonna chat with me like I'm a real person.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like often and not like, I mean, I'm guilty of it too. Like, I'll just
Hmm.
kind of skim through it. Like,
Yeah.
based on it's all like physical appearance based, right? Like, you look at someone and you're just like, are you essentially attracted to this
Right.
individual? Fucking no and yes.
Yeah. So that's why I kind of like the dating apps that are cruisier because it kind of reduces it down to the transaction that we're all treating it like.
That's true. I mean,
Yeah.
that's really what they model themselves after.
Hmm.
Fucking grinder.
Yeah. Grinder's not like probably bottom of the barrel for me though.
Very bottom of the barrel.
Mhm.
So it's gotta go. They gotta
It's
go.
going.
It's like just, meet people in real life and where they are. Okay, cool. Next, kombucha.
Oh, such a goon for me right now. Yeah, I've been sober for the past couple months, and let me tell you, I when you stop drinking alcohol, you just need more fun beverages. Like your need for fun beverages increases by 300%. And personally, my favorite now is the fancy kombucha that comes in the glass wine bottles.
Ooh.
I don't know, like I past self would be scoffing at my future self right now. But you know what? Like I don't care.
You've
Shit's
elevated
good.
you elevated
Elevated,
kombucha.
elevated kombucha. My microbiome has never been more sickening.
I like it. I goon for kombucha. I'm a
Yeah.
big fan. Um, Not all kombucha is made the same, for
Mm-mm.
sure. Like you
Mm-hmm.
really have to. It really depends on like the flavors and the brands. I feel like I've done enough research where I've tasted different kombuchas, um, and I do like kombucha. I like a good like ginger kombucha, but
Oh
then I also
yeah,
do like a fruity, like a pomegranate in there. A
yeah.
grape is good.
A grape. Ooh. Yeah, do appreciate that. I'm with you on the ginger or like any like lemon
Yeah, like
and
the
like
do you like the cayenne ones?
oh yeah, give me the spice, give me the heat. And like honestly, my favorite ones are the ones that bring in a little herbaceousness. Give me a lavender, give me a rosemary,
Ooh,
give me a thyme.
I feel like I had once a rose kombucha.
Oh yeah,
That's fucking classy, dude.
yeah.
If you're sitting around drinking rose kombucha, you're a bit you're it.
Mm-hmm.
You're fucking
You got it.
you're the goyles, as you like to say. You are the goyles. So we good for kombucha.
Mhm.
Okay, next. I don't even know why were we talking about that?
We were talking about how we
We
love
were talking about
Kalela.
Kalela. Yeah, we were
Yeah.
talking about Kalela.
Hmm.
But that's not the Gooner Go. The Gooner Go is Alexander Wang, the designer. If you're not familiar with Alexander Wang, he's like a top fashion designer. What do you think? Thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a go.
I think it's a go too.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think they're problematic. Um, I've read stories and I've heard stories, and I'm just like, I can't believe that you would kind of use your power that way. It's kind of, it's abuse of power for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, like personally, like I feel like the things my friends make in terms of fashion is always way more exciting than like the hot label.
Yeah,
Especially cuz like it's more
true.
unique and I think like when you make something yourself, like it's just it could never compare to like what you buy off the rack.
I think you're right. I think I'm would probably be in a time in my life where I would really be interested in making my own clothes for
Hmm.
sure. Because even now, I feel like as I gotten older, like I don't care. Like just get me in a t-shirt and some
Hmm.
pants, and I'm good to go. Whereas when I was younger, I was much more fashion forward,
Hmm.
um, which is really disappointing because I think he's a talented person. Like he does
Yeah.
make great clothes, and I think that's what we're talking about. Because I saw Kalila in concert, and she was wearing like an Alexander Wang original, and it was really beautiful. And to think like they couldn't like, I don't know, to know that they were problematic and dressing my favorite stars, was it didn't sit well with me.
Yeah, I know. I feel like the more problematic, talented people that come up, it's like no amount of talent justifies
Yeah,
like being that unkind, right?
it's true. No, it's definitely true. I mean, you're a kind person, so I want us to remain kind. Do you like my Bader sweatshirt? Well, I feel like it fits my thing. I've been called a soft top before,
Oh, I
so I
like
feel like
that.
this is very blousy and like
Yeah,
pinky.
yeah,
Soft Vader.
yeah. Very plush, very cozy,
Yeah, there's a lot of coziness to me.
very cozy.
Okay, cool. So Alexander Wang, you're out of there,
Hmm.
unfortunately.
She's out.
She's out. Next. cold brew, coffee.
Always in, literally going into my body as we speak. Mhm.
She was like, "Do you want to get coffee?" And I was like, "No, my anxiety. It's all too much caffeine."
Mhm.
But I do like the smell of coffee. There
Mhm.
was a time when I was
Mm.
drinking a lot of coffee. I was like probably in my mid 20s.
Yeah.
I got this really cool office job, and everyone drank coffee.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, it's all the same." They're like, "No, not at all." And so like we have like this taste testing of like different coffees.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I just don't understand people who can get through life without caffeine. I think it's because it's the ADHD for me
Yeah.
that makes the coffee so good. Really like helps
But
break.
do you like the taste of it, or do you just like the effects of coffee?
Oh, I love it all. Yeah,
The whole thing.
the whole thing.
What about like coffee ice cream? Into that?
Yeah,
Like just coffee flavored candy,
yeah,
anything coffee
coffee
flavored?
anything. I will not drink any coffee with milk in it though.
Yeah, no.
Can't do it.
Okay, milk, Goon or go.
I think it's a go.
Regular milk,
I think it's
like
like whole
animal,
milk. It's a goon.
like from an animal.
Yeah,
It's a Goon.
whole milk. I used to only drink oat milk, but now
Yeah.
something I don't know, something deep inside me has changed, and I'm just like, give me the whole full fat milk, goon.
I grew up drinking full fat milk, and
Yeah.
then I went vegan
Mhm.
or vegetarian. So I was like, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna
Yeah.
switch over to almond. And now when I taste the full fat milk, it's so like slimy
Yeah, it's
and like,
unctuous.
oh, it's so like viscous and thick, and like I'm just like, no, I can't do it anymore.
Well, like I definitely grew up with like an almond mom who only bought skim milk.
Oh, nice.
Um,
An almond milk.
yeah, almond mom with skim milk who only bought skim milk, and then like I, after a certain age, developed lactose intolerance. So I'm like, oh, like
Yeah,
we'll buy. But then I grew up and I learned, oh, lower fat milk actually has more lactose than whole milk
yeah,
because it like condenses down. So
yep.
then when I started drinking whole milk, I'm like, oh, this shit's amazing.
Do you like any milk alternatives? Are you like into
Yeah, I
like
like the
almond?
oat the best. I even like will drink oat milk instead of like whole milk more often, but sometimes I'm just like I just need whole milk.
The one thing that I can do, or like that I do miss, because I'm lactose intolerant, so I stay away. I try to stay away from milk. But it sucks that I can't have ice cream. I love ice cream,
Yeah.
especially like mochi ice
Oh
cream. Like
yeah.
that shit's fucking good.
And there's no replacement for the nut dairy.
No, there's not.
Mm-mm.
Like, yeah, some make it good. Like there's a Ben and Jerry that has alternatives, but
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something like so delicious and like fulfilling about like whole milk ice cream.
Yeah. Hmm.
All right, cool. So cold brews is a goon.
It's a goon.
We goon for coffee.
Easy, easy goon.
You know where to do. Get this one some coffee. And hang out. Okay, next, daddies.
Yeah, easy
Ooh.
goon. Now,
Easy
easy
goon.
goon. But here's the thing. Lately, I've been enjoying a lot of like seeing and play with daddies because
Mhm.
I'm like, wow, y'all need help. Y'all need so much help. Like I don't know. Maybe it's just because like I when I'm like having sex, I try to be like an emotionally available person.
Hmm.
But like, oh, all these daddies, they just like fall apart in my arms, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, it's so hard. It must be so hard to be a daddy.
Especially like those like download daddies.
They need
They need they need they need
think of the daddies.
they need
Someone,
yeah, help out. Like there should be a fund for like fucking daddies.
I just wish there was like more daddy group therapy. I don't know what it is or what needs to happen, but like, how do we welcome these daddies into right relation with themselves?
It's true. I feel like all the times I have really great sex with daddies. I
Yeah,
feel like there's sexual maturity and openness and like,
yeah,
experience. And I feel like
mm,
also too, like I'm kind of transitioning into my daddy phase right now. And
yeah,
so to look at these men or people who have like experienced so much and they're thriving and they're still like sexual beings, like that's
mhm.
something that I look forward to. So I find it really inspirational.
Yeah. I think
I
it's
want to be a
really
hot
important.
daddy.
I think you're on your way.
Thank you.
But no, I think it's really important for like queer people, especially to like be in these like multi generational communities, right?
No.
Um, like it's nice to like be able to dream up futures about like the kind of people we'll turn into, and I
Yeah.
think like being able to have like sexual or just like platonic relations with like queer people of a certain age, it's just sort of like it's the way human society kind of works, right?
Yeah.
Like knowledge is passed down,
Yeah.
and like we have to have those like more vertical relationships like that.
Yeah, definitely. And it's very prevalent in the gay community. You know,
Mm-hmm.
people are always talking about, do you want to put that coffee there? Like, I feel like we're always like, you know, we talk about like, always have this exchange of like daddies and, you know, sons. You know,
Yeah.
it's like the age play difference. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so it is very common. And I love daddies. I can't wait to be a better daddy. Every day is like an opportunity to be a better version daddy of myself.
Yeah, you just gotta be a better daddy than the daddy you just came from.
That's right. Yeah, that's the goal. Like an end that generational trauma.
Mm-hmm. We're
Fuck.
ending generational trauma.
That's, we are one goon at a time.
Yeah, truly, that's the scene. That's the dream role play scene. Ending generational trauma.
I love it. I'm all about
Mm-hmm.
that. So that was gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun, right? You know, if you goon for any of these things or any of these things have to go, you know, let us know in the comments. I want to know what people are talking about. I feel like we picked out some good ones. I want to get your opinion on it. All right, cool. Moving on. So this is part of the podcast, and we call it, or I call it, "Make It Make Sense." So essentially, we'll pick a topic that we don't really understand why it's happening, or we need more context or more information, or we have like a perspective or point of view on it that's different from other people, or something we're really passionate about. And you had a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at the time of recording, news has just come out that one of Chicago's, where I'm currently living, oldest like queer venues is about to shut down permanently.
Mm.
And the circumstances around it I are just so heartbreaking, much like whenever like these like historic queer establishments close. Yeah, so if y'all are in Chicago, you'll probably guess that I'm referring to Berlin. Yeah, which the long short of that story is the workers of Berlin chose to unionize, and when the owners of the club would not like meet their demands or negotiate with them to reach a good agreement for the labor,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the owners decided to shut down permanently. So now this like club, which has been open for like close to like 40 years, I believe,
Yeah.
is now gone. And like I know this venue particularly has like touched so many people very personally because yeah, it's kind of the one venue where like more like fringe things would happen, like very queer. Like you could see like amazing drag, you could see like trans performers of all types. And yeah, it's really unfortunate that like it had to end this way, and I'm still just like make it make sense about it because
Mm-hmm.
like it's obviously like not that uncommon of a story to hear about how nightlife workers are being exploited for their labor in this like very particular way.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think I would like to think that like queer community has a better idea of like labor politics than the rest, but I feel like we keep seeing these instances where like time and time again like folks are not doing good.
Yeah.
And then when they ask for like y'all like they were just asking simply to make more than minimum wage,
Yeah.
and like they couldn't even be gratified with like any sort of negotiation.
So rather than engaging and getting curious with the people that work for this wonderful establishment,
Mm-hmm.
they decided to just shut it down completely. That does not make any sense to me. The fact,
Yeah.
and I think more today, more than ever, we need these queer spaces to exist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I think back on like the Pulse, you know, incident. I
Yeah.
mean, that was horrible. I mean, when that happened, I feel like that was probably the most devastating thing that could have happened to queer spaces. But like to think that you could easily solve it by just having a conversation,
Yeah.
listening,
Yeah.
and really like meeting people where they're at, and
Mm-hmm.
like to continue an establishment that's been around for what 40 years you said,
Yeah.
and to continue to serve a new demographic of queers that really need it more than ever. It's just I don't understand that.
Yeah. And like obviously, I grew up in a place where all the queer stuff was extremely DIY. I'm from Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
So like obviously a club is not the end all be all of like queer culture or even like that particular queer community.
Mm-hmm.
Like folks find a way, like DIY will always like be very alive. But like it is I would like to think that there's like a better way than just like fully bare bones like scrapping by
Yeah.
or just like giving into capitalism. Like
And also too, I feel like they need to understand like oftentimes the people that do work for these establishments need the support more than anybody else.
Mm.
Like oftentimes we're working all these different jobs. I mean, obviously as queer people, we're marginalized. We already are,
Mhm.
but to have be more marginalized by our own community or our own establishment, that
Mhm.
hits different.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know. I would love to hear like from listeners like what we're dreaming of and like what sort of ways we can organize with that same sense of scrappiness, but something as resilient as like a club that can last for 40 years.
Yeah,
Because like it's not like DIY things are known to like last long. Um, but
yeah,
I don't know. I find the things I'm craving in terms of like the communities we're capable of building
yeah,
have staying power
yeah,
and like are things that can last through difficult times and conflicts because we're treating each other properly, you know?
yeah. I totally agree. We should open a Berlin 2.0.
I would love to like be able to make a club a reality, right?
But we were saying too, like these
Mhm.
places can serve more than just offering people a place to like drink and get fucked up. Like we can
Mhm.
utilize these spaces to really share information
Mhm.
as a space of refuge.
Mhm.
I consider like going to these clubs like our safe spaces, especially places like the Eagle, where it's like if you're into like kink or if you're into like leather, there's a space for you to go and explore those things. And if you're new to it, you're going to find people with like-minded um, ideas, and then you'll have more. It's all about accessibility, I think.
Mhm.
Where if you're like in some rural place in the world, you can think to yourself, where can I go? And you think, oh, I could have gone to Berlin, but now I can't.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
I know it's crazy. Like we're still in the aftermath of it, just like announcing that it's closed, and I'm seeing like all these people I know, like all over the world, like posting about how they were changed so much by just being in this space when they were younger.
Yeah, see,
Like
that's
they
what
were
I'm
just
talking
like,
about.
oh, like I'm so glad I got to be here and be given permission to like be really queer and like be really weird
That's right.
in this way. And like these are people I'm seeing posting about this that I'm like, oh, I thought you were like always weird.
That's right. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think
Yeah.
like it's so like these spaces have the opportunity to be really impactful.
Hmm.
Like I remember when I came out in there was a gay club nearby and it shut down. I was like, oh, that was my first gay club. I
Hmm.
have fond memories of that. That's when I was like, testing myself and opening up to like new sexual orientations and ideas, and it was a place for us to like get together.
Yeah.
When you're young and up and coming, and you're just like,
Hmm.
what does queer really mean,
Yeah.
or what does it mean to me? What can it mean to me?
Yeah. It's hard to figure out without those spaces to sort of test things out and like see how it feels.
Sad.
Mm.
Did they have a send off for Berlin, or did you just like completely shut
Well,
down?
it's kind of got shut down and it got shut down in the middle of a strike. So, yeah, like basically while the negotiations were happening and the owners were not basically dignifying their demands with a meeting, like, yeah, the union members called for a strike. So folks in the community of Chicago are super strong because that strike like stopped people from going and they stopped doing shows.
Good.
So it does speak to the power, and that does like give me a lot of hope in all this. Is that like wow, like even though the outcome was not what we were hoping for,
Hmm.
like those relationships made during like union drives like this, and those
Yeah.
relationships made during times of struggle, like lead to more powerful things.
Yeah. I like it. Good stuff. And it's unfortunate.
Hmm.
um, and I really hope other like establishments kind of take heed and kind of pay attention to this because that's we need these spaces to exist. I mean, please, like you work with an underserved community already, so
Hmm.
I think it would be like the appropriate action to just you know all I'm asking at this point is for people to just get curious.
Yeah.
Like listen, like lean
Mhm.
in, get like, what is it that you really want? What is it that this place really means to you? And I think
Mhm.
it gets lost in that because people are just about it's all about money transaction.
Yeah, and like it's hard when like something has such a sentimental value for people. That like yeah, it's like interesting when yeah people all over the world are posting about the impact this club has had on them. But like also like yeah, it's hard to like meet these emotional needs of a community but somehow the material needs of the workers seem to skate by a lot. So
You know.
yeah, it's honestly like this is I feel like in this aftermath the thing that still like is not making sense is like people are like so angry at the workers for just asking for a little bit more. So I'm like, yeah.
Who's getting angry at them?
Well, they're like blaming the union for shutting the club down when like it was kind of the other way around.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I think it's just like, yeah, we don't I don't know.
I mean, at that point, I'd be like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
out for me. Like,
Yeah.
I asked because I gotta fucking survive, and if it shut down, well, they're the fucking idiots. Like, I
Hmm.
don't care. It's not,
Yeah.
at that point. Don't don't do that, people. Like, be nice. These people were asking for something that was justified. Like, need it. Like, we're in a world, and I was talking to my other Andrew on my other podcast. It's like we now know that people need a certain amount for like a quality of life,
Hmm.
and that the whole world should function that way. And I'm an
Yeah.
advocate for that. I'm like, why are people struggling in this day and age?
Hmm.
We have so many resources we can offer to people, but people are just like, all right, that's a whole different topic. I'm like getting really hyped about
Spiraling.
that. But that was good. That was making make sense. That was a really smart conversation. Thanks for bringing that to attention. I had no idea that this was happening. So
Mhm.
thank you for speaking about that.
Yeah, it's happening everywhere, and I think it's like even when bad things happen, there are always opportunities for us to reflect on how we can dream up better communities around us.
Yeah, I think that's a positive here. Like we can think about, okay, fuck it, this place is not this. Well, how can we move forward? Learn from this mistake, learn from this ordeal, and like make a better fucking club, make a
Hmm.
better establishment.
Yeah.
Cool. Make it make sense. If you have an opinion about this, please drop it in the comments. We would love to hear them. Okay, very cool. So we're gonna end on bait, date, or mate. And essentially, this is a part of the podcast where we kind of talk about something that we're struggling in our love life or relationships. Doesn't have to be romantic; it could be platonic. But essentially, like if there's something that's going on in your life that you need some advice on, or you feel like you could share that people could benefit of,
Mm.
and anything on the top of your head. I was trying to think about like anything specific. Do you have anything that you're dealing with at
Mm.
the moment?
I don't know. I feel like when I think about it, like I'm mostly just feeling like I'm thinking of all the like dating interactions I'm having. Like it's all pretty good. Like in this way where like I don't know. Like I am your girlfriend, as you know.
Yeah,
So I feel like at this time in my life, I have just this whole army of lovers around me where like
nice.
they like we were talking about this earlier about this idea of like solo polyamory,
Hmm.
which is like very much where I align, and it's like yeah, I'm having all these relationships like blossom around me where yeah, like sometimes it looks like oh, we're going on a cute date and like we're cuddling and we're doing all the like normal relationship stuff, but like now I'm trying to like think about and trying to bring in this idea of like letting that kind of intimacy paint my other kinds of relationships where
Hmm.
like I don't know, I'm trying to think of ways to express like deeper love for even like these more platonic friends in my life.
Hmm.
Like, I don't know, I've just been feeling so joyful around like having more like physical touch or like things that like I would normally only save
Hmm.
for romantic relations, but like yeah, like cuddling with my friends.
Yeah,
um
I think that's important. I think I'm
yeah.
at a place like that too, and I think we were talking about a little bit over lunch where I'm in the space where I don't allow myself to feel like even in platonic or romantic relationships, like
Yeah.
I'm not allowing myself to um, kind of feel within and kind of feel like, well, how am I feeling about this person at this time now? Like,
Yeah.
even if they're the only person that's giving me that energy, like
Mhm.
I have a choice to either accept it or not. And
Yeah.
I don't want to go to a place where it's like, okay, well, I'm lonely,
Yeah.
so like this is the only thing I should be accepting. No, that doesn't do you any both of you any good because it's
Mhm.
like you're not giving the energy that they want, and vice versa.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like currently in my life, the thing that I feel most conflicted about is like asking for the things that I need and just assuming that people know these things, which is like a
Yeah.
huge. That's not good.
Yeah, I know, and I feel like I guess that is one thing I've kind of been like grappling with is like challenging myself to like ask for what I need, even when it's with like people I don't know well.
Mm.
Like as we were talking about, I love cruising, and I love like meeting a cruise connection that turns into something more of like a tender scene.
Yeah,
Like yeah,
that's
like
always a fun surprise.
it's a fun surprise, and like I'm always, I try to challenge myself to like ask for what I need and like express emotionally, like not take that out just because
Yeah,
it's with a stranger.
yeah.
And like lately, I've just been very amazed by like how people really meet that challenge, like when the vibe is right.
Mm,
Like
mm,
obviously, like
mm,
people,
mm.
I think sometimes I've found when I kind of express that vulnerability with like a lot of people, it can be a little intimidating because
Yeah,
they're not we're not I don't think they're used to like people being emotionally available
yeah. I
in that
mean,
vibe.
especially in our, especially in the fucking gay queer community, like we're
Right.
just kind of fucking, like you said, it's very transactional, which I enjoy
Yeah.
too. Like I'm just like, hey, listen, if I want to get it in, I'm gonna get it in. I'm
Yeah.
gonna find a willing participant.
Yeah.
Um,
But like that's the thing is like even in very transactional like getting it out sex, like I love to laugh. I love to like
yeah,
just like still make that about like the joy of sex is often about the like genuine human connection you can share.
yeah.
And like even if it's transactional, like it doesn't have to be so serious.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I feel like that's where I'm at too. Like I feel like I'm trying to find the balance of like being vulnerable and like asking for things that I need, but without
Mm.
having to be so deep. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't always need to be so fucking deep. And I'm like a
Yeah.
deep person. I've always been hypersensitive to other people's like energies and
Mhm.
emotions. And so I don't know, giving people that space to be like, are you feeling this? Are you kind of being on the same vibe as I am? And people for the most part people are nice about it.
Right.
I haven't really encountered someone that's like, get away from me.
Yeah, I know. I feel like honestly, like when I've noticed more negative experiences around that, it's usually I think like people get flustered because they're not used to seeing
Oh,
ass
that's
maybe.
interesting. Yeah.
I don't know, like people like
Do you feel that then they shut down?
I definitely feel like I've noticed some instances where like folks like shut down when they're just like asked a very simple question about how they're feeling sometimes.
Yeah.
I know I've even identified that in myself, like when it like at certain times where it's like, oh, it's almost like people are getting shut down for like doing the right thing.
Oh.
Or like I don't know. I don't it's hard to put my finger on it.
No, I think that makes sense because I feel like it's just so. I think it's so different than what people are used to.
Hmm.
That they're just like, this is weird. This is what I came for. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's fine, but like, I don't know. I lost my train of
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah. It's wild. Definitely has like I don't know. This is definitely like a new sort of thing I'm bringing into these
Yeah.
sorts of like relationships, especially like when it comes to like the more anonymous sex. But
Do you feel because you're polyamorous? Do you feel like you have you've gotten better at being able to like share enough for everyone in your life, or do you feel like you're giving too much to one person? Like, how do you
mm,
keep it all balanced out? I
yeah,
asked because I'm brand new. I just recently
yeah.
came out as
I don't
qualified.
know. I mean, I guess I think about it like I'm not stretching myself thin. Like
Mm,
obviously,
mm,
like time is a finite resource,
sure.
but yeah, I mean, I don't really guide my activities always around like the people I need to spend time with because then I would never do anything I just want to do.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of times like my polyamorous like time making is just inviting people to do the different things I want to do with me.
Yeah.
Because the different people I love in my life will have different tastes, right?
Yeah.
um,
That's. I mean, and it also, I think that's the goal, right?
yeah, and yeah, like I think like I don't know. It's sort of like I've heard like parents talk about it this way, where it's like, oh, like when you have another kid, you don't like stretch yourself thinner. You just learn to love more.
Wow. I feel like I just had like a light bulb moment. I never really thought about it that way. That's actually really, yeah, that's true. Wow. That, oh, I love that perspective because I feel like it makes it positive. Like you're
Mhm.
not stretching yourself thin. You're able to like you're. I feel like it takes back the power. You're an infinite resource of like these intimacy, connection, and love. Like it
Mhm.
comes from you. So like,
Yeah.
don't ever be fearful of ever running out. Like you can give as much as you need to give.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. And like I don't know, it's sort of just like what I was talking about. Like I feel like for me, like polyamorous practice like that is like what has helped me lead to this place where I can like be more emotionally giving to like even just like strangers and like be willing to like listen to people
Mm.
that like
Hmm.
I'm just choosing to spend my time with, you know.
Also, too, I think it would make it easier, right, to do these things because you're
Mm-hmm.
essentially practicing with people, and so like
Yeah.
you're able to like move forward and be more confident.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, oh, I've done this with like several people. I can continue to do it, and then you just get better. Like you finesse it.
Yeah, you get better at knowing your own
Right.
self
Yes.
and you get better at like being able to like listen to others, I think.
Hmm.
Like it definitely is easier to learn those skills when you're doing it with people you're intimate with and like
Yeah.
have a longer relationship with. But like I
Yeah.
think once you've kind of opened yourself up that way, like it transfers to people you don't know as well either.
Yeah. It just becomes it becomes who you are.
Hmm.
Like it's what you live by.
Hmm.
And I think those are all good things. We were talking about over lunch how like I'm in a place now where I just want to be good. Like I want to
Yeah.
be good to myself. I want to be good to others. And how do you begin to do that? And I think it's again it's being communicative and like talking about the things that you need with all the people that you're dating,
All of them.
all the people that you're dating and loving. I know I love that. That's great. Thank you so much for being on my podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I've always thought you were so smart, and I've always wanted to meet you. This is our first time meeting IRL. We've been like social media friends for like a year, past year and a half. So it's been
Yeah.
so great to have you here. Um, where can people find you and learn more about you?
Yeah, feel free to follow me on the Twitters. I'm at Temper Tantric on there. I'm also on Blue Sky at YourGirlfriend XXX for more sexual content, gooning, baiting things. And yeah, like really stay in touch. Lots of fun gooning things in the works. If you're gonna be in Chicago, check out my new party Goonerverse. New space to goon in public with lots of friends like your girlfriend.
Yeah,
Wow.
that'd be fun if you went to a Goon party and you ran into your girlfriend. It'd
Mhm.
be quite a time.
I know, quite a time.
I'm gonna have all those links and all those things in the description box. People can follow you. Again, I'm Beastly Bader, Ren. I just want to go by in the Bader community. This has been the Bait Escape. Thank you so much for watching, or if you're listening. If you're doing both, even better. Thank you so much for joining, and I look forward to bringing you more stuff in the next episode.
All right. Thanks so much.
Bye, your girlfriend.
Bye.